Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contracts, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Entertainment Podcast, your source for all things entertainment. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Matthew Stagmer on the line, and he's founder and executive producer over at That Works. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Oh, man, so I'm excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to get into your new project, so That Works. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career?
Well, I'm going to do my best to keep this brief because it is a long story. So I've been a blacksmith and metal worker for 22 years. I started when I was 15 years old. I was still in high school. I used to rollerblade or ride my bike to the shop after school, and I would work as late as I could into the night, being allowed to go home and still do homework and whatnot. Flash forward quite some time till about 6 years ago, I was a guest artist on a YouTube show called Man at Arms, which was hosted by Tony Swatton, who is the founder of Sword and Stone in L.A., California. His main business was that he made weapon props for movies. So if you've seen Hook with Robin Williams, he made the hook. He made the sword for Blade with Wesley Snipes. He's done all the Pirates of the Caribbean, all that stuff. So he had a YouTube show, and we had become friends, and he asked me to come out for a season of that. And I filmed it, and I had a great time. It was my first real time being in front of or behind a camera, other than some little documentary things here and there. And I really had a great time, but I didn't really think I would do much more with that. But a couple months after that season, Tony decided that he was no longer interested in doing the show that was produced by Defy Media. So the producers of the show started reaching out to other craftsmen. Obviously, there's not too many people that make swords to that level and can do them quick enough to make a show. So they ended up, basically all the craftsmen pointed their fingers towards me, and the producer started calling me and asking if we were interested in hosting the show and moving forward. Little brief history on that. The All Me channels who hosted Man at Arms, they had 1.5 million subscribers, so that was a pretty serious deal. And it took some negotiating and really some convincing to make me want to do that, because that's, we're pretty humble.
Big responsibility.
Right. And I honestly didn't return their phone calls or emails for a while because I was just kind of nervous, like this is going to be, nobody knows me and then everybody's going to know me. So we ended up deciding to do it. And like I said, it was 1.5 million subscribers. The first season of my shop at Baldwin Knife and Sword taking over that show, there was a lot of kickback. Imagine watching your favorite show on TV and all of a sudden they recast every single person on the show.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be a little upset. So the comment section was pretty upset for a while. Even though we were doing an outstanding job, there was a lot of hatred and a lot of pushback. So this was my first major choice of what I was going to do about it. Was I going to take it? Were we going to just do one season and that was it? I decided to start answering every single person in the comment section and basically addressing every little bit of hatred that was being thrown out. And people, there's a funny thing about internet trolls in general, that if they put a face to who they're actually talking to, a lot of times you can either change their mind or at least quiet them. And I think I did a little bit of both. And our run of doing that show, Man at Arms, lasted almost 3.5 years. We did over 100 episodes. And
wow.
by the time by the time our run ended with that, we went from 1.5 million subscribers to 7.5 million subscribers.
Amazing.
So, I'm not saying it was all me by answering it, but I definitely, did my part.
It's work. It doesn't matter. Numbers are numbers. That's not easy.
Numbers are numbers, right. And that's one of the things that I really preach today is no matter what you're doing, go all in, Like, you don't have to go all in financially, but go all in with everything you got. If you're working on a project, give it your all. So we did that show for about 3.5 years, and we got another phone call from our producer saying that our YouTube show had been picked up by a production company for television. And that was another choice we had to make. And, of course, we were excited about it. And that was the Rey Network. You had Daniel Tibbett in, I think, last week, who was the president of El Rey.
Dan is a good guy, absolutely.
Right. He was an amazing person to work with. And if you don't know what El Rey Network is, it's Robert Rodriguez's personal network. So when we heard that we were going to be working with Robert, it was pretty exciting growing up, watching some of his movies and just
that's pretty freaking amazing. That's awesome.
We were just a YouTube channel, and now all of a sudden we're going to be on a network. And not only that, here in the States it runs on El Rey, but everywhere else, almost every single other country in the world, it runs on History Channel or Discovery Channel. And so it went from this little thing to a bigger thing to an amazingly bigger thing. Actually the host of that TV show ended up being Danny Trejo. So it went from, us just being blacksmiths talking about what we're making to having a guy like Danny Trejo be the host of the show and working side by side with him. So that was like truly an amazing experience. And it's working with somebody like Robert and Danny Trejo, who's very established. It was really cool to see, I'm actually pretty good at this stuff. Like, I talk on camera as good as they do. I got a chance to be a producer on the TV show. I actually got producer credit. So I'm a producer on a international TV show, which is definitely, it just felt great to be recognized for that. Because not only am I just one of the craftsmen on that show for all these years, I also did all the research, what we were going to build. I wrote up all the build sheets, how we're going to build it, that allowed the actual producers to put together their timeline and how things were going to get filmed. And it was just a heck of a ride. Now, I know this is getting long-winded, but I'm almost done. So we did that for two seasons, and we were getting ready to negotiate for a third season of the TV show when I woke up one morning and checked my Facebook and saw that Defy Media had declared bankruptcy and was completely out of business. And just like that, everything that I had built was cut. There was no one to talk to. All the emails were canceled. I mean, we could talk to our former producers and call them, but they were all in the same light as we. They just woke up and the light was off, which really was like one of those moments where, you just get sick to your stomach. Everything you knew, I had just gotten a family and got married and, really kind of counted on that financial aspect of my life to move forward with my family. And it just off like a light. And it was one of those moments where I kind of decided there was two kinds of people. There's people that like just bet the ante, and there's people who go all in on a pocket, a hand of pocket change. And I decided to be that guy. I decided to go all in. And like I said before, I don't necessarily mean all in financially. I mean all in with everything you got, all your effort, put everything into it. And instead of, my brother was, I'm not going to say he was scared, but he was very cautious in trying to start something on our own because he just felt like there'd be another production company. He wanted to wait around and see if somebody would pick us up, and I decided to do the opposite. Like I said before, I had a YouTube my name on YouTube was Matt Stagmer, so when I commented on the actual show, they could see that it was me, put a face to the word, and people naturally kind of subscribed to me. So I had a couple thousand people just with my name, and I decided to change the name of that channel and start putting videos up. And I, along with my partner Ilya Alexiev, we shot our first video on an iPhone. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have any fancy lights. The YouTube and the television show both had like 14 to 25 man crews that would come in and do the lighting and all of that, and we were all of a sudden doing it by ourselves with an iPhone, and it was scary. the hardest part of starting any business, but especially a YouTube channel, is getting started. Once you get started, you can just push forward. But that getting started was one of the scariest moments of my life. And, that kind of leads us up where we are today, a year later from that.
Man, what an amazing story. I love it. And what I love is that you just went out there and you still did it. And you're like, no, I know what I do. And you learned a lot about the business. So that brings us to present day.
Exactly.
So let's go further into that work. So tell us more about the channel and your plans for it.
Okay, so That Works. Funny story real quick on how we got the name That Works. Like I said, my partner Ilya and myself had thought about doing this for a while. And we came up with all these different clever names, and we said, let's sit on everything for a week. Every day, let's brainstorm and put down our favorite name for what the channel will be. And at the end of each day, we'd kind of look over it and go over it, and we'd say to each other, like one was the Anvil's Edge. We thought that would be a great name. And Ilya said, yeah, that kind of works. And I would say, yeah, that one kind of works. And we just kind of got into it, and we said that works so many times that it just stuck. Honestly, one day he texted me just the words "that works," and I was like, "What works?" I didn't send you any suggestion. He said, "No, that works. Let's roll with that works." And I was hesitant. I was like, somebody has to have that name. You know what I mean? Like, that has to be a channel. That sounds like a great idea. It sounds like a TV channel. And we looked it up, and the website was available. The YouTube channel was available.
Get out of here.
We rolled with it. Yeah. So I bought the website. I registered. I changed my channel name from Matt Stagmer to That Works. We put up a video a week later that I said we shot on our iPhone. And basically at the time I was still working with my brother at Ball and Rifle Sword, and he didn't want us to put any major build videos up like the previous project because he didn't want to scare any other production companies away from maybe picking us up. So we started with just a very simple blacksmithing technique, which is called a penny scroll. You've seen it on every gate or every coat hanger you've ever seen, a little scroll work. We showed how to do that. I filmed it all on my iPhone, edited it right on my iPhone, and put it right to YouTube. And people started liking it. People started reaching out and saying, hey, we've always been entertained by you guys. We kind of became like, I don't want to say celebrities, but we became celebrities in the blacksmithing world. And they said, instead of just showing us what you can do and kind of showing off and making these highlight videos, you're actually really getting into it and teaching us. And that quickly became the focus of our channel, where we, flash forward now, we're doing some pretty high-end builds, but we still are taking the time to explain at least one or two key processes to people, because there's a lot of people out there that are into blacksmithing now. Forged in Fire on History Channel and our show and some other shows really kind of sparked a lot of interest. So we really want to make our channel less, what I like to say is it's less look at what we can do and more of look what you can do. And that's been kind of how we based almost every video that we've put up. We do videos at least once every other week. Sometimes we do 2 or 3 a week. It kind of depends what we're working on. Actually, as craftsmen ourselves, we have time to do it. I ended up buying a camera, so I'm not shooting everything on my iPhone anymore. I taught myself how to edit videos. I had never done that. I had never shot a video other than on my iPhone. I had to learn how the camera worked. Before I bought my camera, which was just a simple Canon N50, it was an $850 cheapest camera you could get, but it was the one that I looked up and said was good for vlogging and things like that. I spent countless hours every night watching YouTube, watching how to use a camera, how to set the aperture, all of that stuff. And like I said, I was a blacksmith. Now, I did go to school for photography and some other visual arts things, so I kind of understood the framing and how to make things look pretty. But it's a whole other world putting it to video. I had to learn all that. And I'm not going to lie, of course I was scared. That was a whole other thing. I devoted my life, 20-some years of being a metal worker, and now all of a sudden I'm going to try to be a producer. I'm going to try to be a cameraman, a lighting guy, a gaffer, the editor, the sound guy, all of that. And I did it.
I love this. I know what to say. This is an amazing story, and not only is it inspiring, but I tell people this all the time. Like, if you have a skill, you have something else. You don't have to reinvent yourself and create something new in terms of being somebody else. There's enough subscribers. There's enough people out there. If you're just yourself authentically, which I'm not going to say is easy, but if you're just yourself authentically in front of a camera or on the microphone, if you're doing a podcast or otherwise, some people are going to listen to you or watch you, and they're going to like what you have to say. They're going to subscribe. They're going to follow. Some people aren't, and it's okay. Like, there's so many people out there that it's okay. But the main thing is, and one of the big takeaways here, and I tell people this all the time, Matt, because they always ask, like, how do you podcast? I did my first 300 episodes on my iPhone headphones. I did my first 1,500 episodes on another small mic, and I've to this date when this is being recorded, this is what, 2020, June 2020, I've done over 2,200 episodes, all recorded on my phone. I still record on my phone because I don't want to switch to anything else just because I don't want to. I like it. It sounds good. Like, all the editing is good. It's on my iPhone. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, you could set up, you could do all these other things, great, but you can also build an audience not doing all that other stuff, just so you know. And you're proof positive. So Matt, that being said, so final question. So if somebody's watching this and they want to connect either with your channel, That Works, or your website, or just to get more into your overall brand and what you're doing, I mean, what's the best way for them to do all of that?
I mean, the best way is to start off with the YouTube channel, youtube.com/thatworks. Check out some of our videos. We have, like I said, educational videos. We also have some very entertaining videos where we build video game weapons and bring them to life. Not just weapons, we do items and tools as well. So there's a little bit of something there for everybody. If you have a favorite movie, TV show, anime, comic book, anything like that, we'll have something on there that you enjoy. Check that out. The items that we actually make and sell are on thatworks.shop, but you can kind of find everything from the YouTube channel. So if you go there, you can go to the About Us, find our Instagram. Mine's Matt Stagmer. My partner's is the Slavic Smith. But if you go to the youtube.com/thatworks, you'll be able to find everything from there. For sure. Fantastic.
Well, Matt, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all that great work that you're doing over at That Works, the YouTube channel That Works, the website thatworks.shop. Definitely recommend all my listeners go check that out. It's really cool stuff. You'll be entertained. These are some entertaining videos. Even if you're not a blacksmith or into metalworking, if you just want to watch some really cool stuff, it is really cool. So Matt, thanks again for coming on the show, and to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Entertainment, give us a subscribe there too. We really do appreciate it. And Matt, thanks again for coming on.